Hey everybody, welcome to Anti-Workers United. Today we have an AMA with Federal Reserve 3.0. So let's get started by having the team introduce yourselves. Tell us a little bit about your background, history in the real world, in crypto, like what you do for a living, what your real life job is, professional experience, and also what your experience in crypto is.
Yeah, cool. So I'm Butters. In the real world, I'm a boring project manager, and in crypto, I'm a boring project manager. So I'm just the kind of person that nags all the other people. On this one, I'm also helping out with a lot of the community stuff, like getting the communications lined out as well. Kind of been in the space for around about 2 or 3 years. Dabbled in a few pieces, but I've been working with this team for the last few months, working through Federal Reserve. Ken, do you want to go next?
Sounds good. I'm Ken, everyone. In the real world, I'm a software developer, full stack developer, however you want to look at it. In crypto, I guess I'm more of just marketing partnerships and enjoy just hosting parties on voice chats is my preference inside of the group or the projects I work on, which is kind of the complete opposite of what I do in real life. But yeah, I've been in crypto a couple of years, worked with this team as well as various other teams, just bopping around different projects. But yeah, that's it from my introduction. Do one of Kevin or JPal next?
You go.
Yeah, I'll jump in. Yeah, no, all good. So JPal, real life, I'm an enterprise IT architect slash product manager. Kind of wear a couple of hats at the startup that I work for. Crypto, I think I've got probably the longest tenure in actual crypto in our team at least. I was kind of back in the very, very early days, mining Bitcoin and Ethereum and whatever else was, being forked and coming out at the same time. Had a nice little toasty office with a bunch of mining equipment, racked up a gigantic electricity bill. And then, around about the same time as all these guys, I kind of fell into the ETH and the BSC space, and found out all about, what was going on around here. And in this project particularly, I took on a bunch of the design, website design, the DApp design, but I do have sort of a background in software development as well. So, I can help out along those lines. But yeah, everything you see from a design point of view has come from me.
Yeah, cool. I'll introduce myself as well. I'm Kevin. In the real world, I'm primarily a back-end engineer, bit of an AWS specialist as well, so a bit of cloud infrastructure stuff in there. A lot newer to crypto than JPal. I sort of came in last summer. Worked on a couple of smaller time projects, helping them out. And for this project, primarily, I'm developing bots so that we can stream data to our chats and stuff like that. But yeah, I'll let you guys carry on from now.
All right, perfect. So are you guys know each other in real life? Are you like friends in real life, or do you only know each other through the crypto space?
Just your crypto. So a couple of the guys sort of know each other. First introduced each other to other parts of the group, but no, in the most the sort of core team, we've known each other for about 2.5 years in the space. Majority of us kind of met in the ruins of a rugged project that we all invested in a couple of years ago, and we've just stayed in contact since then, working on different pieces together. And this is the first big one where we've all come together and started working on it.
So this is like your first core project that you guys all are core members in, right?
That's right. Yeah. So we've took the decision sort of to dox to each other fully, because obviously, you know, we've been speaking to each other for the last couple of years, but that's in this space. It's just still no guarantee you can trust anyone. So we doxed internally to ourselves. We have KYC'd externally as well. But yeah, it's our first kind of main one where everyone's working on the same project. We've done bits and pieces individually, and some of us with each other, but no, this is the first one that we've all been excited to be part of all together.
All right, so you guys do the KYC, and you're
That's right.
docs to each other, but you're not publicly docs, right? There's no like public information on any of the team members, so there's no socials, LinkedIn, or anything like that for any of you guys.
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay. Are you guys planning to do that in the future, like potentially do a LLC, public docs, anything like that?
To be honest, it's something that we did
Probably
discuss.
not.
With the nature of it being sort of Federal Reserve, we don't know, you know, if this.
Yeah, there might be some
takes off
conflict of interest there.
Yeah, to be honest, it's one of those. If it takes off and it really does fly, which we really are hoping it does. We know that there could be some issues coming our way, and it could be the case that we would rather stay out of the public eye. We've done everything we can to kind of make sure that there's trust in the team, without the full face-facing doxing.
All right, cool. That's awesome. So you guys KYC, docs with each other, and I would like to know who is the contract developer and who would be like the contract owner in charge of the wallets and all of that.
So the contract developer unfortunately isn't on the call. He is daring to actually spend some time with his girlfriend for their anniversary. But so we've got one formal contract developer. Contract has been fully audited through to Contract Ninja. We know instead of it just being a one-off, we've got a constant communication with them as well. So that's really promising that we can continue to get their advice on any pieces going forward. But in terms of the financials, we've all got multi-signature wallets. We've got a couple of people who have got access to that as well. But the internal doxing helps with the trust between us that someone's not just going to magically disappear. But the liquidity as well, from our perspective, is totally locked down as well. And the additional liquidity as it pulls in will be locked on a regular basis as well.
Just on the contract ownership piece, that's with me, as I was the KYC entity, so I had to own that part of it and showcase that for our KYC certificate.
Okay, all right, cool. So you guys doing any kind of multi-sig wallets, or is it just going to be based on trust?
At the moment, it's based on trust.
All right, let's move on to the actual project. Do you guys have a presentation to give or any kind of elevator pitch?
Yeah, so I think we don't have a formal presentation as such. We don't have a formal presentation as such, but more than happy to go with our sort of elevator pitch and how we got to this stage. So as I kind of said, we met on a few.
They seen sorry, the network was bad. Someone like JPO said about KYC certificate. Is it for only the team members of the project, or is for both the investors and the team of the project?
You can go see the certificate. It's linked from our website. There's 2 of our members that are KYC'd for the project.
Okay. That's nice.
By the way, man, we're going to be asking questions after. So usually our community questions are after I'm done asking questions. So please wait until then for all your questions. All right. So
cool. So so we're back in the elevator now.
yeah. So let's give us the presentation, or what you guys are all about. What the project's all about.
Brilliant. So Federal Reserve. We kind of wanted something that was a real mixture between that professional look and feel, as well as having a bit of fun with everything. we wanted to think of something which was unique in the utility or something different that hadn't been seen in the contract space before, and we've managed to do that. So if we think back to a year ago, where there was that, the kind of joke that majority of people's stimulus checks in the States was going straight into shitcoins, we kind of wanted to kind of make a bit of a play on that. But instead of it being a stimulus check from the government, it will come from Federal Reserve 3.0, which is obviously us. So in order for that to happen, obviously it's a similar kind of to a lottery type token, but in a way it's almost like a scratch card. So we have a small percentage of tax on transactions that go through. That pulls in a central wallet, and every interaction you make with the contract, every buy of more than 0.1 BNB, it's like trying a scratch card to win the jackpot that's remaining in there. It's not something you have to claim, it's all done automatically. And the idea is that all of this information is shared on our DApp. So it's not something where we're future road mapping this. This is all up and running. It's all been tested, ready to go. I think the guys might be able to potentially show a bit of a screen share of that as well at some point. But the idea is that people can kind of buy a ticket, try and win the jackpot, and it will go through. Obviously, we've got the ability of relying on a lot of real world events as they come through. So it's not like something we'll be scrounging around for areas that we need to wait and market. So anything that the Federal Reserve does heavily impacts this space. And we'll be able to draw on that to try and use it to our strength in marketing, pushing it to a wider audience, and almost becoming seen as the good version of the Federal Reserve as well to push through. So we've got a few different mechanics going through, but one of the big selling points for us is that we're working with GEMPAD to become their exclusive first hyper launch on their pre-sale for those mechanics. In a really, really quick blitz. And again, we'll kind of pick this up in a moment as well, but you've seen a lot of the pink sale, the fair launches, the subscriptions, they're dying on launch, where people have got their small bags and they're just trying to empty out. There's no new buyers coming in. We'll be looking at restricting the amount of contributors that can come in to a pre-sale. So the idea is that we kind of return to that real buying pressure on launch, because we know that's really key actually for us to take off the ground. And from our perspective, we're going to be marketing it really heavily, but so are GEMPAD. They're really, really keen to push this through to all of their partners and through their marketing channels as well. So yeah, we've got a few different areas going on. It's an exciting time for us. We've had this idea of the Federal Reserve, and when we've been speaking to GEMPAD and they spoke to us about this new hyper launch, it's perfect. It's exactly what we need to kind of go hand in hand with our project. And we're really hoping that people kind of see the kind of really good blend of what the professional view of it is. The website looks great. We've got really something unique in the contract in terms of that kind of try and win aspect as well. But we also know that it's a bit of fun, and it's something that is going to continually churn up some news for us to poke fun into and try and market alongside.
All right, so this project is mostly like a lottery type project, right? Based on what you were saying about
that's the core contract mechanic. Outside of that, getting a bit of feedback from someone. Anyway, we have a bunch of utility that's sort of in development and being lined up. The first one is going to be what we're calling our NFT T-Bonds. So we've got our NFT utility developed. We're currently testing it on testnet, and the way this will work, and we actually showed this off on the AMA with the Coin Launch Lounge, which is pinned in our channel. So we will have the ability on our DApp to mint these bond NFTs that will pay a nominal amount of interest over a set period of time, and these bonds can be, like in the real world, can be traded on a secondary market. So it turns it into a bit of a a 3.0 or Web3 version of the traditional Federal Reserve bond market. And so we're going to strategically launch that very soon after launch. As you said, the functionality is all there. We've shown it off to everybody, but we obviously want to drip feed. And then from there, we've got other utility planned. We're working on the idea of what we're calling a toxic asset facility, which is how we give people a utility for their rug tokens and rug coins. However, we are working on how to do that in a safe way. And then from there, we've got sort of bigger plans than that as well, but we're being a bit tight-lipped. But, we're going to be steadily releasing utility to go along with the token as well. Because, as we said, everything we're doing is in-house. We're not reliant on third-party contractors or third-party devs. So, we don't have to use any of the funding to do any of this, outside of the skills that we have to do it all ourselves.
I think I want to go continue walking through the website.
We want to walk through the site?
No, like you're sharing the website. You want to go basically walk through that? Through the different stuff?
Yeah. So, So it's very similar. It's just as you go down, you'll get an idea of the different mechanics. So obviously this is kind of an elevator pitch. Like we want to take it back to those days where everyone was either in stocks or in crypto with the money that they were given. And this is very US centric, right? But, have to pander to somebody. And, what we wanted to really tap into was the feeling of, getting that stimulus check or getting those funds. Generally, it was more than what people were getting paid at the time. And they'd get that and they'd YOLO it into something, whether it's a meme stock or you get DGen coin. And back then, everything was going up, right? So we kind of want to bring back that feeling of it's depressing at the moment. The real Federal Reserve is a big cause of that, with their sort of, hawkish outlook on everything and raising of, inflation's gone through the roof, interest rates have gone through the roof. So we want to, bring a little bit of levity back into it. So, and as Butters was saying, the stimulus checks in this case are this auto lottery that comes in, that's all contract based. You'll be able to see on the DApp the last time someone got paid, how many tries there've been since there's been a check printed, what the next payout's going to be, what your personal stats are, the biggest print of all time. Like a bunch of those things are going to be, visible from the DApp as well. And so the next section is what the T-Bonds or the NFT bonds that we were just talking about. So we're going to have varying degrees of duration, varying degrees of interest. Now, we're not talking like 1 million APY in this case, right? We're talking, much more realistic rates of returns. The interest is paid in Fed 3.0. The bonds will be purchased in BNB, but you'll always get back the face value of the bond. So if a bond is bought for 1 BNB, when the NFT is burnt at the end of the duration, you'll get that 1 BNB back. You just get a notional amount of Fed 3.0 with it. But the idea is that, let's just say on day one, I buy for 1 BNB. By, a couple of days later, through volatility, Fed 3.0 is actually worth quite a lot more than on day one. You could go and flip that bond, because you could say that I'm going to sell this bond for 1.2 BNB at this point on that secondary market. Someone's going to buy that because the interest that they'll get, is more. And they're buying tokens directly through, KuCoin or Pancakes, anything like that, obviously has the taxes. We have a 10% buy and 10% sell tax. The tokens that you get from the bond maturity aren't taxed. So here you can see the breakdown of where the taxes go. It's 2% across the board. We've got 100 billion total supply, and the one below that is the vesting schedule for the team. So we're unlocking over a long period of time. The team, as we're being very open about how the team is looking to monetize this as well. The team tokens, a portion of that will be sold for team profit, but only at specified market cap milestones. But there, obviously, we're internalizing that. But the idea is that we're 100% transparent. If the team does reach one of their milestones and we make a sell, we will post that into the channel that this was the team taking profits, and we're not going to dump on the chart, right? These are going to be managed sells, but at the end of the day, the team, it needs to get paid as well.
All right. You guys, all the team tokens are locked until the first month, right? When 20% is unlocked.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go back. I want to make it a little simple, especially for new investors. Like to understand how the stimulus checks, and then I see you have like the NFTs with the T-Bonds, how all this works. So can you maybe like in a simple, let's say something like the average crypto investor would understand, how does this work with the stimulus checks? First of all, how is it funded? Is it through the taxes, or do you guys have certain tokens set aside already? What are the mechanisms for it? Like, what do you need to buy? How long you got to hold? Who qualifies? How they get selected as winners? Like, what does the contract do to select it? Like, is it a random number, or just basically from step 1 to step 10, whatever it is, how it works and what you need to do? What, like I say, what I need to do if I want to participate, if I want to have a chance of winning, like what I got to do?
Yeah. So the stimulus checks are paid out in BNB. That does come from the taxes. There isn't any funky steps to take. It's purely through buying. So if you hold Fed 3.0 and you purchase the minimum threshold, which is 0.1 BNB worth of tokens, so if you just make a buy, the stimulus check contract will instantly check. If you have sold, then you're not able to access the stimulus for 7 days. But if you haven't sold and if you haven't won, if you haven't already been paid a stimulus check in a 24-hour period, then the contract checks to see if you've won. So it's nothing more complex than just buying in reality. And the person that pops that number within the contract gets the BNB directly into their wallet. They get 90% of the check amount that's shown on the DApp. 5% goes towards buyback and burn, and 5% goes to operations. In the future, as we start to release more and more mechanics, we will ease off on reliance on the taxes for funding the stimulus check program, and we'll rely more and more on revenue from those other utilities, such as the bonds and that toxic asset repo that is in development at the moment. Does that answer it enough, or do you want me to walk through it again?
Yeah, so how often will there be a drawing, or how often will there?
It's as there can be a winner. Like technically, based on statistics, there could be like 2 winners in a row. There could be one winner in a day. It is based on a random number generation. but there's no set sort of cadence or frequency between them.
So you could win as soon as you buy, or you have, like you were saying, you have to.
You have to hold. You have to hold. They have to be a holder. They have to be a holder first, and then if they buy the minimum threshold after holding, they get the access to it. You don't win straight away.
So what triggers the actual contract picking a number and picking a winner?
A buy, a purchase.
So someone's purchase will trigger distribution for all the holders that hold a certain. So you can't basically trigger yourself unless.
No. It's on a buy basis. Sorry, it's not a distribution. So if I hold and you hold and we both make a purchase, then there'll be two individual checks to see if we get paid the stimulus check that's currently in the pot. So
what I'm looking for is an example of, like, basically the algorithm, or how. So something like this. This is the way I understand it. You have people buying the tokens and holding, right? And after a certain amount of buys or a certain amount of threshold is reached with amount of buys, the next buy or so the contract will do a random number generator based on the current holders. Is that kind of how it works? So let's say there's like 100 holders that are eligible to win the stimulus. The next buy would trigger it, and they'll pick a wallet from one of those 100. Is that
no? It's purely everybody has an individual chance. The more they buy, the more chances they have to win.
So the more they buy during that period. So what if I bought like a month ago?
It's not in a period. So okay, so it's not a period. It's purely the printer is running all the time, right? So let's just say there's 5 BNB in the treasury fund for the printer at the moment. Everybody's purchasing every time, and everybody that's purchasing, let's just say they're a holder and that they haven't sold, right, in the last 7 days, right? So that means that everybody's eligible to win, or everybody's eligible to get that check printed. Every time anybody makes a 0.1 BNB worth of token purchase, it checks to see if they get paid that stimulus check. So it's a race condition.
Okay, so you do have to be a holder. So what does this prevent new people from buying because they can't win? It's only literally going to award the holders, right? They're winning. Like, you have to be a holder to win, right? So you can't get a fresh wallet and just buy up, buy like 10 times 0.1 BNB, 0.1 BNB, whatever.
No. You have to be a holder. You have to be a holder for it to trigger. And the main reason is if someone's sold, if they've dumped their bag, then they're precluded from entering. They're precluded from having a chance at it. We're not. Yeah. We have to reward. Yeah.
So it's similar to, I think it's similar to the way, like, we had the project when we had the lottery. Let's say every time there's like someone that buys 100,000 tokens, and the contract would spin a number 1 through 100. If you get 1, you win, and you would get instantly awarded. So instead of buying 100,000 and getting 100,000, you would get like 3 million, whatever the jackpot was, right? So it seems it's similar to that. The only difference is it has to check also to see that you're a diamond hand holder. You have to have a certain amount of tokens you're holding, and 0 cells, right, to be eligible for a win. But if you are eligible, you would get it immediately, right? If you buy and you win.
Right. Yeah, it's not a claiming system. It's, the way that, because I'm always the idiot on majority of calls. So the way that it was explained to me and it stuck with me, it's almost more like a scratch card kind of system where you kind of have the holding ability beforehand, but you're kind of having a continual chance of doing it. If you want to make 100 0.1 BNB transactions to try and up your chances of it, if that's what you want to do, then that's absolutely fine. We spoke to a couple of larger communities with private investors in the run-up as we were filling our private, and they liked the idea that there were multiple ways they could try and profit off of the project, whether or not they they buy in at the start and just hold and wait for that continual growth of the token, whether they try and win the lottery, whether they try and buy in with multiple wallets and then so they're not discounting themselves if they were to make any sales. It's an interesting dynamic because it's new, and it is that you win by interaction of that buying interaction, and that's how we're going to sort of encourage the green on the chart as well as we go through.
And is there like a difference between someone holding like a smaller amount of tokens versus someone holding a larger amount? Are the odds going to be different?
No, there's no odds skewing on that side.
All right, and then you guys, I'm expecting that your contract will have variables where you could change your odds, right, as you go. Let's say that
yes,
jackpot gets really big, maybe you want to lower the odds. It's a bigger win, and you could also change the 90% to maybe, let's say, 30%. Because I feel
correct.
The issue with this is after someone wins, now there's nothing to win, and it's gonna basically kind of like slow down the buys because it's really not.
Oh yeah, so yes, exactly, and obviously another point of transparency is because anybody can go and check this, and we don't want to be like, oh, you win the pod and that's it. You're exactly right. So the idea is that on the DApp you'll see what the next check payout is, but the contract won't always. It's not going to sell 100% of the fund, right? Because that's ridiculous, and it means that one person wins everything and then no one can win anything. The contract will. The stimulus contract will always maintain a level, and this is sort of modifiable as well, of funding, so that yes, sometimes there will be big payouts, sometimes there'll be small payouts. But the idea is that there'll always be a fund available for people to be, aiming for or trying to trigger to win. All
right, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, yeah, it has to be that way because I mean, I'm very familiar with this because that's why I'm asking these questions because, like I said, we had a similar lottery system, but there was issues with it. So I want to get on to my next point. Is the random number, is it generated in the contract? Because I hope you guys realize that there's no such thing as
there's no such thing as a random number.
Randomness in a crypto, or at least in the contract. There are ways to go predict what's happening and all that. So how is it how are you guys gonna get around that issue?
Yeah, the idea of a random number being random isn't really true unless you go for like even oracles that have like random number generators aren't purely random. So yeah, this is something came up with our contract dev. We're confident that the code that's in the stimulus contract is solid enough that there won't be a case of people manipulating it. Our token contract is audited and it was on there. The stimulus contract will not be verified as well on BSC scan. But yeah, we have taken that on board. And our contract dev is fully confident in the way the mechanic works within the stimulus contract.
All right, so what's to stop someone from creating a bot that would basically buy and check to see if they won, and if they didn't win, to cancel transaction all in the same block? So basically they could in a way hack the contract or hack the win. So they would have a lot of failed transactions and say buy, fail, buy, fail, buy, fail until they win, and then the one that wins would actually go through.
Yeah, look, and that's a really valid question, and one that we can ask Aaron Yeager, our dev, and we can probably come back to this community with an answer on. But as we said, he's not on the call, so.
Okay, yeah, because we had that similar happen with ours, and someone literally spent, I'm guessing, probably like 6, 8, I don't know how many hours to create that contract that would actually, win. And I'm glad because they won like $40. Congratulations, because I caught it after the second win, and then I let them win a couple more times just to see if they just got lucky or
no, that's actually that's actually probably one of the best questions we've had. So that's actually a really legitimate thing. So we'll talk to him, and if we want to come back, and if you guys want us to come back with an answer in the channel, then we definitely will.
Yeah. Please do that, because I'm just saying, because if it's anything like the one where you basically generate the random number based on the nonce and the block, on the timestamp, all of that. That can all be predicted, and then you could make a contract where it reverts if you don't win. So they don't have to spend any gas or any funds at all, because it gets automatically reverted if the contract doesn't know that it's going to win. So that's one way to hack it. So I would recommend, if that's the case, to go with an oracle, because even though it's not completely random, there's no way for anyone to really predict, because it's a third party, right? Same thing with Chainlink. I would go with Chainlink, honestly. That's probably the best way to go. If you really want to take it seriously. Because, if they did it for like $20 in my contract, imagine if there's like thousands of dollars in the line, you know what I mean? Like $100,000 jackpots, who knows? Then then I'm almost guarantee you they're going to figure out a way how to like how to get
if they can see that pot, they're going to want it. No, that's actually a legit question and legit thought. So we'll take that.
But I think the guy probably didn't write the contract himself. I think because the rainbow token before also was hacked with this method, right? So maybe he just copied the contract that did it.
No, our contract was not copied.
No. The contract that is testing if it's winning or not.
Oh yeah, maybe they use the same hack as the rainbow. Yeah, could be. Yeah. But yeah, if that's the way it works, that's why the other way to get around the system is if they don't win right away, like you have to like buy, and maybe like a day later, all the wins would get, there could be a drawing where the contract makes a drawing. That's another way. But yeah, if it's like an automatic lottery, like the one we had, where you could win right away as soon, basically the buy is what rolls the number. If that's the way it works, then that's what happened with us. And then some guy, like, I congratulate him because he did really put the effort in to win $30. I'm like, if I knew who he was, I'd hire him. That's dedication right there.
I reckon half the time people in this space do stuff just to say they've done it, or just to
I think
to test
so.
out
Honestly,
their skills.
talking to my dev, and we knew about this. We knew about that this could happen, and but we like, you know what? This is gonna be such a small scale thing. Like I don't think anyone's gonna even waste their time trying to hack it, because we were thinking of doing Chainlink, we're thinking of doing Oracle, and we're like, you know what? I don't think anyone's gonna take the effort to hack $100. But apparently someone did, and honestly I do think it's probably just because, like, as a hobby for fun, just kind of like to prove something. I don't think anyone was trying to scam or trying to hack us, because like I said, they won like $100, like not even 100, like $40 before I noticed it. So
I will say that this mechanic is not the core mechanic, right? Like this was a way of poking fun, or having a bit of fun with the name. The mechanics that we're really focusing on are obviously the first one off the block, which is the NFT bonds, and then what we've got planned for in the short term after release. We decided on this as really something to sort of market the project with, but the tax that goes into that is relatively small. I mean, it's 2%. So, and unless we're talking like, massive market cap, a 2%, reward is not going to be anything too huge. So we're totally, we're already talking in our group chat about taking that on board. But the idea is that, this is kind of just a doorway into the project, and then the rest of the stuff that we have on, is where the real meat of our project is.
Okay, yeah. I wanted to get down to that one. So yeah, let's actually move along because I think we spent enough time talking about this. I just want to make sure that you guys know exactly you're aware because we had issues with that. So let's go on to the NFT and the T-Bonds and what that is all about. So you guys gonna have NFTs and there's gonna be certain rewards for that, or how does this all work?
Yeah, so I mean these are NFTs, but these aren't the NFTs that you'll still have kicking around in your wallet. They do have a lifetime to them. So the idea is that you mint the NFT, and that NFT will have a duration. It could be 1 day, it could be 3 days, it could be 7 days. The face value of that will be in BNB, and there will be a notional amount of interest paid upon maturity or redemption of the NFT. And then there is a secondary market. So if you mint an NFT and it has a 3-day life cycle, within those 3 days, if you wanted to, you could try and flip it for more than what you paid for. If you desperately need the sum or all of the face value of that NFT back, then you could sell it for the same amount you bought it for. But the idea is that whoever holds that NFT at the end of the redemption period gets back the initial face value of the BNB, and they get back an amount of Fed3 tokens paid in interest. The whole thing about it is to simulate or to have a BSC Web3 version of the treasury bond and secondary market for those treasury bonds.
How do you make money off of those? How does let's say, how do I make money?
How do you make money? So in reality, most of it comes from the interest. So the Fed3 tokens you get upon redemption. So if you put in a BNB at the end of the 3 days, you get that 1 BNB back, and you get an amount of Fed3 tokens equal to the that sort of interest rate that was on that bond.
All right. And these NFTs, is there going to be some kind of special graphics or art, or is it just going to
be So we kind of showed off. We've got a whole bunch of different designs, and we're talking to a few actual NFT artists. So we're actually going to keep cycling them through, so they're not going to be the same. The ones that we've got right now, they're cool, but they're not super fancy. The idea is that we're going to, start to come up with better designs and nicer designs as we go as well. I mean, we're not launching straight away, so we could actually have a whole variation of them in the time for the feature to be launched as well. So we might start dropping some of the designs in the chat actually over the next before launch, but they'll all be various different designs.
All right, thank you. All right, let's go move on to tokenomics, because I was really curious how all this is funded, right? So so it's 10% buy, 10% sell. Are you guys gonna have any higher sell tax at launch or anything like that, scaling down?
No, it's set. I mean, we can obviously up and down the taxes towards it. We obviously can't go high enough to break the contract. That's hard coded in, but we're not doing a whole sort of 30% tax at launch and then scaling down. We're just starting, and we don't really have any plans to shift. There's nothing in the contract mechanics to shift. As I said before, if we get to a point where utilities and everything are starting to really take off, we might look to scale back some of the taxes to do with the stimulus program, so that that's one less drain on the project. But yeah, everything's pretty much as you see here.
All right, so the printer, the 2%, that's going to be funding the lottery, right? The
BNB pool. Yep.
All right, and the bond market 2%, that's what's going to be funding the NFT.
Yes, but that's right. That's in tokens. So there's no sell there, right? So those tokens go directly into the pool for the NFT interest.
And you have a separate sale for the NFTs, right? You're going to collect like a separate, like an NFT sale. And do you have any idea like about the numbers, like what it's going to cost, what chain it's going to be on, like if it's going to be on Ethereum, on BSC, like $100.
It's just to start with. It's just going to be the NFTs are going to be on the BSC, where we've got it all in our. So we've got the DApp and we've got the minting in the marketplace, all within our app, within our DApp. Sorry.
So you're going to have an NFT marketplace, and
yes.
you're going to mint the NFTs on there. So one of your use cases is the marketplace. Is it going to be a marketplace for anyone, or just specifically for your ecosystem?
It's going to be for our ecosystem.
All right. So basically, it's just a website, really, where you can mint and you could buy, sell NFTs. Will you be able to buy and sell these NFTs anywhere else, or just on your marketplace?
It'll initially just be on ours. The way they work, if we were to try and if we were to put them on, somewhere like, one of the other major sort of NFT marketplaces, because they're meant to be burned, they're meant to be redeemed in a duration, in a period of time. We'd have to think hard about how we market that, right? It's because we're doing it centrally within our own DApp, it flows. So the flow would kind of be broken if you had to go to another marketplace and buy them and then come back to us. So we'd have to think long and hard about how we would, figure that out and figure out the flow.
All right. And do you have any idea about like I said, what the cost will be, like, 0.1 BNB minting, or and also
there'll be
timeline for this?
Yeah. As I said, this is running on testnet right now. This is kind of our development site, and we're going to have various ranges of values and various durations as well. So timeline, no longer than like a week after launch. Obviously, we'll keep the community fully up to date, but yeah, it's not going to be like, oh, this is like a Q4 or a Q1 2023. Like this will be coming out straight after launch.
Okay, perfect. That's good because people promise NFT marketplace, this XYZ, and it's like a year later. I'm like, I don't even think I'll be holding your token a year later, man. Like BNB's either going to crash or it's going to be 10x, or not 10x, like I don't know, like 700, 800.
Yeah.
100.
Yeah, no. Actually, the main thing at the moment is we're doing like a UI redesign. That's kind of what's keeping me up late at the moment. And my plan is to have that fully done by launch, so that we can just stress test it over 5 to 7 days after launch, and then release it. So yeah, we're doing a big UI overhaul on the DApp right now.
All right, perfect. All right, so I have a couple more questions, and then we'll go to the community. So still on the tokenomics page, I see there's liquidity 70%, the bonds is 15%, private sale and team. So the liquidity, I think you meant to say pre-sale plus liquidity, right?
Yeah, sorry, that's right.
All right, so pre-sale plus liquidity.
We'll get. I can get that up. I can get that graphic updated. Yeah. So it's what goes towards pre-sale, and what goes into liquidity is 70% of the tokens. Yeah.
All right, so that opens me up to a bonus question. How many AMAs have you guys done so far?
So we've done. This is our second. The first one was with Coin Launch.
Okay. All right. So this is your second AMA, and then you guys are starting the pre-sale when?
Next Wednesday, so the 28th. We initially held the first AMA purely just to for each investors to fill our private sale, and so now we're starting the drive to 9 days time, when we look to have our exclusively first on the BSC hyper launch with GEMPAD, and that's going to be on the 28th.
Okay, all right. And you guys will be doing multiple AMAs and more marketing from now till pre-sale?
That's right. Yeah. So basically, people in our community are going to be really sick of our voice by the time it comes to next week. But no, we're ramping up the marketing as such. We filled the private sale just before the weekend just gone. We've spent the weekend talking, agreeing what our strategy is going to be from a marketing perspective. We've started reaching out to some of the I'd say that the groups, the space has changed. We know that a year ago, you kind of know what you kind of get into a couple of call groups and that's it. That's your project successful. Whereas that's not the case anymore. So we're working with Condo Labs as well. We're working with GEMPAD. We're working out what the best strategy is and how we get the biggest outreach for people to see the project in the right light. So yeah, we're kind of pushing now on the AMA side to try and explain some of the mechanics and how things work. Keen to get in with you guys earlier so that people can see that we're a safe project and that we've thought a lot of the answers to the questions as well. But it is now just that kind of that slog, that drive and that outreach to get our project known, ready for there to be that huge amount of buying pressure on launch night.
All right, cool. So private sale, let's talk a little bit about that. You guys raised around like 30, 40-ish BNBs, right?
About 44 BNB. Yeah, we originally we didn't. Well, it's oversubscribed. We would take a few more in over the top than we thought. We'd go for that 40 region. There was a lot of interest, so we capped it at 44. And that was finalized I think on Friday.
All right, perfect. And all of these funds that will be used for marketing, right? None of it's going to liquidity.
For the private sale, that's right, yeah. And we haven't eaten or been fed yet, so the team haven't taken a cut of it either.
And is there an investing for private sale and discounts?
There was a 10% discount for private sale, but there's no vesting schedule for the private sale.
All right, so they will basically. What was the maximum contribution?
3 BNB.
3 BNB.
All right, cool. So no vesting, but it's about 44 BNB. And for pre-sale, what hard cap are you going to set? Or no, wait, never mind. It's a hyper launch.
So it's a hyper launch. So yeah, so the only there is a soft cap that will be implemented just on the off chance it doesn't take off. But the only cap there will be on the amount of contributors that there can be to the pre-sale. So the number's 200. Only 200 people could contribute, and the minimum and maximum of that other mechanic hasn't been finalised yet. But it won't be ridiculous number. We're looking at trying to keep it reasonable throughout, because as I said a couple of times, sorry if I'm repeating myself, but the idea is that we want that buying pressure to be there on launch. We want people to have the appetite to buy in early and often on launch night, so that we can hopefully get some winners straight out the gate, and we can start getting that that fun feeling, that trust going with the community that people are winning. And for us as well, the more winners we get, the easier it is to market. Part of the other sort of 10% of that jackpot pot that is not taken home by the winner goes straight into publicising the fact they've just won and marketing out for fresh investors as well.
Yeah, I will say one thing we haven't actually touched on, which is a good point, and kind of goes towards the sort of the strength of the team, well, actually particularly for Kevin here, is that the contracts, both the stimulus contract and the NFTs in the future and everything else, will be fully hooked up to our own custom Telegram and Twitter bots, so people can see our Telegram bot. It's actually, I think it just went live like overnight in the in our main channel. And we've slowly sort of ripped out like all of the other sort of bots that people normally see, like Rose and Kelsey bot, and it's been replaced with our own custom one, which is hooked up to the contracts, and it'll be constantly posting, you know, if people are buying, if people are winning. It'll be doing all the NFT stuff. It'll be posting to Twitter. So, you know, we're kind of trying to set ourselves up so that there's just this, you know, on launch, there's this massive amount of hype, even at the point where like our bot will be tracking our hyper launch sale through GEMPAD. It'll be posting it to Twitter at various milestones. It'll be posting to the channel at various milestones. So yeah, we've got a lot of things prepared for this launch.
Okay. All right. So about the hyper launch, so I know you guys don't really have everything, you know, like all the numbers yet, but like rough ballpark, let's say, I don't know, maybe like 0.2, 0.1. What are you thinking of minimum contributions and a maximum? Do you have any ideas?
I know that all those figures are sort of in flux at the moment. It will be a relatively small, and when we say small, we actually do mean a relatively small soft cap, and the contribution size won't be huge either. You know, as Butters was saying, you know, we want to fill this really fast, and then we want to you know, launch, you know, as soon as possible afterwards to keep that pressure going. So, you know, we will be coming out with fully finalized details to the community very soon, but we're looking at pretty conservative small numbers there.
All right, cool. I just thought of something like a potential exploit that could happen with this type of launch. So it's something to think about. If you set your minimum too low, let's just say it's 0.1 BNB, which is kind of normal, and that's normally will be a pretty good minimum. But if someone wanted to kind of mess with you guys, or just kind of not you specifically, let's say mess with anyone that's doing this type of pre-sale, imagine that they get, you know, a couple wallets in with maximum whatever it is, 2-3 BNB, and then they fill the rest of it up with 0.1 BNB wallets. So they could pretty much lock out everyone else, and they'll be in control of the majority of the tokens, or a huge percentage of the tokens. You know, so it could come to the point where you have the same issue with the fair launch, where one guy, of course, he's risky more too, but then he could control like 30% of the pre-sale.
Yeah, that's true. We can raise that with GEMPAD.
I think it's a good thing to figure out the minimums and the maximum, because like I said, if you have it too low, so and you only have 200, right? What if all 200 is 0.1 BNB, right? That's only 20 BNB raised.
Yeah, so
there's obviously a bit of math there.
We haven't finalized them numbers, and you know, we are building a very close relationship or partnership with GEMPAD, and we'll be having a couple meetings with them beforehand, because it works both ways. You know, where the first one on the BSC, so they want to work with us to make sure we do get them numbers correct and we cover every avenue. So that will be something what they take into account as well, because, you know, they're the pros here. It's their launch pad.
Yeah, definitely. I think I'm gonna have a talk with them too, because I feel like that could be an exploit, right? If someone, for example, if there's 44 BNB in private sale, and if the minimum or most of the contributions are like towards the minimum, your hard cap or your sale could be, you know, only maybe another 40 BNBs instead of, you know, 100, 200, and then you can have issues with liquidity.
We will have a look at like what our minimum is, and you know, that's something we already are taking. Well, I'm taking into account, because I talk to GEMPAD a lot and whatnot, that, you know, the numbers we do decide on, we have to have that minimum set at the right amount. That means we don't have a massive amount of contributors. It works both ways, really. So,
you know, I wonder if I mean, maybe it's too complicated for now, but I wonder if there's a way to do like a minimum, but there's only like a certain slots for a minimum, almost like a tiered pre-sale.
Yeah.
For example, you have like, you know how you guys say you have 200 slots, right? Let's say you would only have like, let's say 50 slots. That's between 0.1 to 0.5 BNB. And then you have 100 slots between like 5 to like 1, and then you have another 100 from like 1 to 2, something like that.
Yeah. So you got like a shrimp allocation. You've got a shark allocation, whale allocation. Yeah.
Exactly. So that way, like, you can't have one guy just go all 200 or 0.1, and then you can't really have one guy buy all, maximum either. So you actually have a pretty good distribution of different wallet sizes and stuff. But yeah, that's cool. So I think, I'll definitely talk to GEMPAD about that too, because I didn't really realize it earlier. I just thought about it now while we're having the AMA, and like, there's a potential, for someone just to mess with it.
Yeah, no, it's a really good point. We did talk about it before in one of our sessions, and what we tried to do is talk about the risk of it setting very low, so that you've got lots of people going with a very low amount. To be honest, the idea of the exploit didn't come up in my head at all, but it was more the case of, what if we just find loads of people that are going to put in 0.1, and therefore it leads us to some issue at launch. But I think it's a really good point. So thanks for that. We'll take that on board.
All right, cool. And then for the pre-sale, what's the liquidity percentage? I'm assuming that's 70%.
So yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it will. So we'll get this graph updated with the token split. Yeah.
All right, cool.
So 70% of the BNB will go towards the pre-sale, like the launch. Sorry.
Yeah. To the liquidity. Okay, so 70% of liquidity. Of pre-sales going to liquidity, and the other part, the 15% tokens for the bonds, is that going to be locked or vested? Because you guys are not going to release the NFTs for at least a couple days.
Yeah, no. So so what we'll do is so they will they won't be touched. So yeah, we probably will look to we'll finalize a launch date for the NFTs, and we'll chuck them into a locker until then.
Yeah, that's what I would do, especially when you're looking at pre-sale and you see that everything's locked up, all the lock schedules, everything's like nice and taken care of. That it gives a lot more confidence for investors, especially if you don't really need them, right? There's no point in keeping them on lock.
No, they're not there. They're pretty much they'll sit in the pool for the bonds. But yeah, we'll lock them until the point that the NFTs are launched.
All right, awesome. All right, so I got like one more question, and then we'll go open for the community. So I know you guys are doing like the hyper launch. It's a new thing, and we discussed a little bit of of at least my ideas of how I think maybe someone could go try to mess with that, but that could also be taken care of. So it's different, right? It's different than a fair launch, and we generally do not like fair launches. If you think about it, if you're a trader, if you're trading, if you're a gambler, if you're doing anything in real life, you're supposed to look at the odds, right? You got to look at the odds. Even things that aren't a gamble, like any type of investment you do, you should be looking at the odds. For example, real estate. People say it's a no-brainer. You buy real estate and you're going to make money on it. Why is that? It's because like 100% of the time in the last 10 years, if you bought a house and rented it out, you're going to make money, right? 100% chance. The odds of winning is almost 100%. The only time you would ever lose is if the renters don't pay and trash the house. Then you might lose like 50 grand fixing it. But anyways, so at the end of the day, it all comes down to odds, even if it's a cool system, but it just doesn't work. Like people lose money. For example, the Pink Sale Fair launch. Like 99% of the time, if you participate in the fair launch, it's going to dump out the gate and you're going to lose. That's just the way it works. And so it's not like I hate those fair launches or I have some bias against them. It's really the odds. Like if I'm trading or day trading stocks or crypto or anything, I wouldn't pick a strategy that has 90% loss rate, would I? The way to make money is you always have to have the edge. Same with the casinos, right? They make money because they have a 51% edge, and the players 49% at best. So over a long period of time, the players lose, the casino makes money. So so my question is, with the market the way it is now, and this is not a fair launch, so it's not the same way, but basically market's kind of shitty. A lot of projects are failing. Like scam projects do well and then they end up rugging, or at least they do well with the hype initially and they end up rugging, things like that. So it's hard for investors to hold. There's a lot of accusations of people cheating, getting their 2x, but I think it has a lot to do with the fact that everyone else is doing the same because they're scared to hold. Like if they're going to get rugged every other project, they might not have the patience to hold, for a 10x. They might just, go for 1.5, 2x, quick in and out. And then because everyone's thinking the same, no project is doing great because they're scared of, scammers. They're scared of the market. So my question is, like, I know you guys are going to be launching, have the pre-sale going to launch. What's the best chance for investors to make money in this project? Like, what's the plan here? Like, what's your guys' plan? You're marketing right now, the pre-sale coming up. Pre-sale is going to be fairly small, right? So fairly low market cap.
Yeah.
So that's some actual pretty good chances of, moon potential, of course, because lower the market cap, the less where it's supply and demand, right? The less the supply, the higher chance it's gonna, do good. But at the same time, it is similar to a fair launch because anyone could buy in unless, all 200 spots are, instantly bought. So it's like a hybrid, I would say. It's a hybrid between like a standard pre-sale and like a fair launch. So it's limited in a way. So, if there's more than 200 investors that want to buy in right away, then I think it's going to be, like a race to be the first one to contribute. And then that means that there's going to be a lot of buy pressure at launch, right? So, like, let's say if I'm an investor, like, what's my best chance here? Like what do you guys, basically, like, how would you convince me to invest?
The best chance is going to be if you're thinking of like the risk of if there's not enough buy pressure at launch or are people going to dump. Well, the fact is that the difference is we're conservative in what we're going for in the numbers. A lot of these ones that I'm going to use Pink Seal as the prime example because they're the ones that are doing the big owl ones, the big subscription, the big fair launches, even the big pre-sales. And so they're getting to launch and there is no buy pressure. We're going for something small, which means, let's say, and I'm not the guy with the calculations in my head, so I could be wrong, but let's say we launch with a 70k market cap, yeah? That means we've got, on launch, with everything we've got planned, which people, when they see it, they're going to be like, fuck, that's good, that's different, that's new. I highly doubt, unless everyone in the world wants to prove me wrong on this, that we're going to go less than the 70k market cap because we have got a lot planned and we already started a low market cap. So if people want the best chance to get in, it's going to be on launch. You're not.
I'll just jump in quickly just before some of the other team do and say I think one of the main reasons why we will be successful is other projects rely on the pre-sale funding to even begin some of the utilities or some of the part of the project, right? They have this concept, but they need the pre-sale to even try and make that a reality. And by the time they've made a reality, the project's dead and everyone's moved on, right? It's very different for us. It's like we're not reliant on this pre-sale to be our funding vehicle for putting out the project that we want to put out, right? It's the opposite. Everything that we're going to do is things that we've either, got ready to go or they've already got in development, so we can kind of leapfrog here and not be like, hey guys, just, work with us for like a month and a half while we like go and find a developer or go and find a bunch, the team that we're going to need to do this. So it's like, no, it doesn't work that way. It's like, we've got everything in-house. The reason why we kind of spent a long time trying to prepare this is so that we had it all in-house for this exact reason, right? Like we don't need to rely on the community funding the further project development and project building. Like we're taking care of that. So everything that we can do is focused on getting the project in front of people, but more importantly, like, actually releasing the things that we've said that we're going to release.
Yeah, thank you. That's actually the answer I was looking for. And I was actually wondering if you guys were going to say something about that because, yeah, you guys basically got the marketplace. Everything's ready, right? Close to launch. So you don't need, $5,000 of tax funds from the project to fund your marketplace or fund your NFTs development or anything. All of this will be already paid for or paid for with time, I guess, in this case. It's all in-house by you guys prior to launch. So this should be a lot
exactly
different than most other projects in the space, like you said, where literally they have no investment out of their own pockets, barely any investment out of their own time. Literally projects launching with, paying some Fiverr guy $200 to make a website and collecting private sale funds from investors with zero out of pocket, other than maybe like $200, which they get back from private sale anyways. And so they have no incentive. They have zero risk to actually make it successful. And they just basically do pre-sale farming or private sale, pre-sale launch farming, let the project die in 2 weeks and rinse and repeat. So you guys have been working this for a long time. You guys have all this developed. Like you have the skills to do Telegram bots. You developed the actual marketplace and also the contract, right? It's in-house. You guys didn't like fork it or anything.
That's right. No,
Correct,
all in-house.
All right, awesome. So that's all my questions that's all the questions I have. I mean, I might have more later, but we'll give the community a chance to ask questions. And this one guy was impatient that I muted earlier. So I know he wants to ask some questions. So go ahead, guys. Community time.
Stunned silence.
I know, I take that as a big positive. We've just wowed everyone.
Yeah, a lot of times, we were already in depth, like we go into pretty deep with the AMA, so there's not as many community questions, and plus we don't like have a Jeet AMA where it's like all fake with like people reading scripts and trying winning prizes by asking questions. Like we're gonna do that shit here, like Pink Sale, all their fake sweatshop of 20-30 guys reading Google questions. Nah, that's not how it works around here.
It's amazing that one of AMAs we kind of listen to, and obviously the wrap up question normally is, someone said, you said what would make me invest in your project, kind of what's your closing pitch kind of thing, and the first question is, why should I invest in your project? And you're like, yeah, okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, have you been paying attention, or are you just trying to read a script because you think you're going to win $100 if we pick your question? Where's that guy at? We'll give it a couple more minutes. He was just in here. I just unmuted him like a minute ago. I don't know if he left. Maybe he realized that he's not going to win $100 for asking a question.
This Google Translate's not working. That's fine. I think just to kind of, while we wait for any questions or anything to come in, just to kind of echo, all the risk at the minute has been on us. Very much like the clever people on our team. It's been the time they've spent developing contract, website, Telegram bots. That it's incredible how it's come together. So the risk is all on there, but it is a case where, in order for us to make this project worthwhile for us, it is very dependent on that hype and explanation of everything up front. So we're trying to be as transparent and open and honest as we can on any questions. And of course, when we get really good questions where we identify different areas, we're not too proud to go away and take that and work as a team on making sure that we can improve it as much as possible. We know this is quite unique. We know it's a good opportunity, and there are lots of different ways people might try and play the token to make it successful, or to kind of win the jackpot, or to get in low. And but we've tried to think of as many different alternatives or different ways that we can make it successful, no matter what the strategy is. And we just want to continually push that floor up higher as we go through. Like I said before, it's a different space to last year. People don't have that patience, which is why we wanted to have everything up front. You think about like Sonar, for example. They promised a portfolio app or something that was 12 months later, they still hadn't designed anything else for a website, but people still held on for that duration. That's not the case anymore. We know that people are rightfully impatient, and and we're lucky that our team has got the skills on board to have it all ready to showcase, 2 weeks before we launch. So that's amazing.
All right, perfect. Yeah, by the way, we did have a couple questions in here. Someone wants to know, what is the hyper launch? How does that work?
Yeah, so as we were saying before, think of a hyper launch as a bit of a hybrid new launch from GEMPAD. Obviously, they'll be able to explain it a lot better than we can because it's their product. But the hype comes from the maximum amount of contributors rather than a sort of a soft cap and a hard cap, or a soft cap and a time duration. So the hype will generally come from seeing people, jump in, there being less and less spots coming up. It'll actually be really cool to be the first BSC project. I know that there was a Doge Chain project last week, I think, which smashed it. So we're really looking forward to being the first on the BSC.
All right, awesome. So you guys will be the first hyper launch project, and I heard a rumor you might also be the first one that has a vetted badge on GEMPAD. It's just a rumor.
Possibly, yeah.
That's
not
the
100%. Okay, awesome, guys. Any more questions? I gave it like 20 seconds.
I have a question.
I gave her fire away.
You said you don't want to approve these lottery contract, yeah? But what will stop people from just using the compiler?
Yeah, I mean, look, if it's not verified, you can pull the bytecode out and try to decompile it, but you're never going to get more than what is already sort of out there in the ether. I mean, people can try, people can do whatever they want, really, but we're just saying we're not going to verify, so it's not there. But after the discussion today as well, we are going to go back and just do a bit of investigation to make sure that for launch that we're rock solid and happy with everything as well. I mean, that's what the point of these AMAs, especially like a real AMA, is for, is to test the team and to see if there's anything that we can do to make things as successful for launch as possible. And one of them is going to be, we're just going to go back and retest the lottery contract and make sure that it's as rock solid and safe as what we can before launch.
Yeah. And you guys have the audit, right? But if that lottery contract is not verified, do they still audit that part?
No, they haven't audited that. The audit is just focused on the token contract.
So the lottery contract is actually separate.
It's separate. Yeah, it's a separate contract.
Okay. Yeah, because in our case, it was actually part of the token contract. Everything was in there, like the automatic lottery. So maybe if you do get hacked and it's a separate, or like, let's say someone figures out how to like guess, you could do another contract and link that one instead, right? Because you could.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so there's a way to do that. So you can modify the rules or the way the algorithm works.
Yeah, but obviously, like with your commentary before, it's got me thinking. So I am going to go off and talk to Aaron Yeager about it, because I mean, we can the way we've done it, we could fix it after the fact, but I want to make sure that we get this right the first time.
I do have one more question about concerning Aaron Yeager. What is his like nationality?
European. EU.
European, okay. Because I know Aaron Yeager, that's just a popular name because it's in the anime, right?
Yeah. That's where the image comes from. Yeah, he's EU based.
Okay, all right. Because I do know another guy that went by Aaron Yeager in like Discord, and he was actually a scammer. So I was just making sure it's not the same guy.
No, he doesn't go by Aaron Yeager on Discord, but we're all on Discord as well.
Perfect, awesome. So you guys want to do like any closing statements, and I'll end the recording.
Yeah, so
You're the man for this. Or Butter.
Go on, I'll start, and then Ken can make it sound proper. So, for us, obviously, it's something new, something interesting. We know what the market is telling us at the minute, but we also know that it's heavily driven from the actual Federal Reserve. So, the Federal Reserve 3.0 is really aimed at making this a kind of safe space, something which is a bit different, but unique, gives people a chance to gamble away that spare BNB they've got to try and win a jackpot. We're going to have a continually improving system which will tell people what's in the current pot, how long it's been since winner, how many times or transactions there's been since that. So we and the idea is we're going to try and really drive that community up. We are the exclusive first BSC launch of this hyper launch system from GEMPAD, which we're really excited about, which means we get access to obviously their partners and their marketing push as well. We get to do our side, and with Conda Labs as well, we're going to be in a position where we can mass push this out to a huge audience. Everything we've done is completely safe. Everything that we've done as part of the team has been for the benefit and the longevity of the token. It's not going to be a flash in the pan one. So if you've got any other questions, jump in our Telegram, come and ask us. We're open book. If we don't know the answer, or I don't know the answer, which is more likely because I'm the simple one, then we'll find out the answer and come back to you. We are looking to launch on the 28th of September, and that will probably be both the hyper launch and subsequently, as soon as that's filled with that new mechanism of maximum contributors, we'll be looking to full launch as well. So it could be a really amazing 24 hours following that. And then it's just a case where we can use our expertise and our years of knowledge in the crypto space, along with GEMPAD and Conda, to continually push this to a wider audience. And we've been trying to think ahead what's going to work, and we're excited, the team. So Ken, anything I've missed for that little ramble?
Not really. I just kind of want to say, you've got why wouldn't you want to invest in Fed Reserve 3.0? You've got the real Fed Reserve making everyone's lives miserable, and it's fun to have a good old meme of America. No offense, Americans. So just come and join us. We've got the seriousness of the utility, and we've got the memeness of the Fed Reserve. Best of both worlds, really.
All right, thank you guys. Stay